Hey family, we are live, broadcasting live. This is the Conversation Room 101. Make sure it's only adults in the house. I need your mind to be open, prepared, and relaxed. Welcome to our home. Take your shoes off. We got some rules we need to go over. Be kind. No cursing in the chat. If you want to curse, call in. And no shouting out other channels. That's a no-no. We got one other rule. There is no judging our guests. It will not be permitted. Zero tolerance. And if so, you want to do that, guess what? We got security. And we will escort you out. Because over here, hashtag we don't care. We're going to be one big family. We're going to laugh together sometimes. We're going to cry. But we definitely going to pray. I thank the Lord above for everything. I lift him up and give him the glory. But you guys, right now, we're going to get our popcorn. And then we're going to see what's going on. And let me just park my car. And I'll be in there in a minute. I'll see you real soon.
The Copyright Disclaimer Act. The Copyright Disclaimer Act under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news, reporting, teaching, scholarships, and research. Fair use is used permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Like, share, subscribe.
Do you want to know? Well, I've been thinking about you. And I think I have to listen. Because the sun is up, it's a beautiful day.
And we won't stop. We will not stop.
Sun. Come, won't you come along? And it feels so right. It's like luck is raining on me. Go and follow your heart. Doesn't matter how far. There is so much love to give. Something's telling me this time. Baby, baby, now
See this? You cannot go.
Baby, baby, gotta go. There is so much love to give. Something's telling me it's right.
Neighbors and the
When you
community
came to me,
compelled to
who are
scour
you?
the area.
It's you, yeah, boy.
Where does the fault lie on you?
Hey family, how is everybody doing? I told you guys I was going to show back up on Wednesday. Here we are. Hey C6, how you doing? Freddie Johnson's in the building. Lisa Taylor's in the building. How you guys doing? How are you guys doing? Yes. I had to run outside real quick. So I think Amazon came and dropped off a package. And life. We're talking about a wacky Wednesday, you guys. Ooh, is everybody okay? I ran outside. So anyway, you guys, we're going to pick up and talk about what we were talking about Monday. We talked about what was going on with, I was looking for that app and now I just found it. Oh, thank God. Maybe I can finish some stuff up. They're saying that my stuff is finna expire. Is everybody doing okay? Because Christmas is right around the corner, you guys. Today is the 10th. We only got 15 days. And on December the 23rd, I think that's the day that we're going to do our Christmas giveaway. Or should we do it on the 26th? I only got the 23rd. I got the 21st also. I don't know if the 21st that's just, that'll be hard to do. I'm going to be getting some stuff ready because we're going to celebrate our Christmas on the 26th because I've got to work the 24th and the 25th. So never fear, I'm here. Tina's at work. So I'm thinking the 23rd or the 26th is when we should do the Christmas giveaway. Maybe the 26th. Oh my goodness gracious. Life, life, and challenges and decisions. You guys, my stomach is a little upset. So I did want to make sure I come on regardless. So let's talk about um, whatever date works best for you, SP. Okay, Lisa Taylor said whatever date works best for you. You know, the weird thing about it is, I only have that one day off, and I don't know. Oh my goodness, my stomach is like, oh, it's killing me, killing me. Um, oh goodness, I don't know. Take of yourself. She said, take of yourself. So I would like to do it on the 23rd, and that way I can get everything processed by the 26th, because it's got to be like a Christmas giveaway. But we can handle everything prior. You guys understand? So, you know. Hold on one moment here. Let me see what this is. Life. This is so anyway, you guys, it is Wacky Wednesday. We're not gonna be on here long. My stomach is like tearing my whole system up. I wanted to come on to make sure everybody knows that we are still gonna do our Christmas giveaway, and um I haven't got, oh my goodness, you guys, my stomach is really killing me. Really killing me. So I think, and that's weird. That's weird. Hold on, because my stomach is killing me now. Let me see. It's a wonderful day. Yay. Hey, Zena, how you doing? She said, what did you eat? Oh, my goodness. Ah, I ate my noodles and my ground beef, which got a lot of peppers in it and everything, but my stomach is killing me. So you guys, let's learn a valuable lesson today. Every day is a good day that we can learn a valuable lesson. And let's see here. Let's see. Uh Jacob Pratchett, the mom of the missing autistic son, released. She's released, but the boy disappeared. Oh wow. So remember the young lady that would not tell where her son Jacob is at? Um, I guess they released her from Rikers Island. You guys remember I was telling you guys that? The Brooklyn woman jailed for 2 months for refusing to say what happened to her missing autistic son on Tuesday was ordered released by a judge who ruled she was being punished for exercising her rights. So Jacqueline must still show up for family court next week to be questioned once again about her son, Jacob, a nonverbal 11-year-old boy missing since at least April. His mother who has mental health issues, let police and the administrator for children's services caseworker into her apartment on October the 1st when they were checking on a tip about Jacob's welfare, but there was no sign of Jacob. And Jacqueline says she is a virgin who never had children, that she is Jesus Christ, and that the toys in her home belong to her, according to the police. Remember, you guys, me telling you guys that? But the police believe harm has came to Jacob. They have identified him as missing and asking for the public's help. They releasing, pictures, the sketches of Jacob by a computer rendering him a photo of his mother after being taken to Brookdale Hospital for psychiatric evaluation. The mother was jailed on a family court contempt warrant and has 8 times refused to answer questions about Jacob. She's invoking her Fifth Amendment right to avoid saying anything that would incriminate her. But on Tuesday, the Supreme Court, Margaret Martin said she agreed with the content of Jacqueline lawyers that family court unlawfully held her simply for not saying what happened to her child. So she said was jailed based on her good faith that she has a right not to answer any questions. The petitioner is released. Martin says she is to be released Fort Worth. Okay. So one of Jacqueline's lawyer had no comment. A spokesman for the city law department, which had opposed Pratchett being released because it believes the family court contempt warrant was justified, said the city is evaluating the next step. Wow. So the young lady I was telling you that would not tell where her child was at, they released her. Okay? That is, well, I told you guys, I'm all for the law. And if the law says that, no matter, we just do not know where Jacob is at, if you don't want to tell where Jacob is at, this woman stood on her. She's not that mentally disturbed. She know the law. And she did not tell them where this child is at. That is wow. I mean, normally you don't hear where the person, even though that they won something, she did win. She didn't have, I'm pretty sure she'll get she'll get jailed sooner or later. And now that they're mad because it looks like egg is on their face, egg would be on their face. So Jacqueline was freed from Rikers Island after a judge found that her continued detention violated her Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. Pratchett had been in custody since October, days after an ACS worker reported her 11-year-old son, Jacob, was missing. Jacob, who is autistic and nonverbal, had not been seen for months. See, they don't know if she done gave the child to somebody. Hopefully she gave the child to somebody. They have launched an extensive search that include checking dumpsters behind the family apartment on Howard Avenue and even a landfill where Rochester, but found no trace of the boy. During multiple family court hearings, Pratchett refused to answer questions. Her defense attorney argued she was being jailed only to pressure her into speaking. On Tuesday, the judge agreed, saying that the court was keeping Pratchett behind bars as a way to compel her to speak. Pratchett showed little emotion when she learned she would be released. She is due back in court on December the 19th, so she's going to be out 9 days. But you know what? I guarantee you that they're hoping that she does not show up for court. I'm telling you right now, they're hoping that this woman does not show up for court come December the 19th, and that will be on a Friday, you guys. I mean, and it's really hard that, okay, we're going to release you. We're going to release you on the 10th. Now, they released her on the 9th. They gave her 10 days. And in 10 days, you got to show back up for court on the 19th. Okay. The investigation into Jacob's disappearance remained active, and officials have not provided any new details. Okay. That's all they're saying on that. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to catch you live. Usually I'm asleep at this time because I got to work at night, but I'm off this week, so I'm so happy to be able to catch you live. All right, Jacqueline. We are talking about a young lady, and her name is Jacqueline also. It's me, Kenny, from Cash Gurning Case. I'm DJK, the MFN Great 86. All right. Hey, Kenny, how you doing? All right, you guys. So, life is something else. So, I'm just saying, let's get into this little conversation real quick. So now we've got, I guess there has been just a little bit, the only thing that happened to Where's Jacob is that they cannot find him. They're saying it's like a mystery. They've released the mother. I told you guys, all is well, that they were going to release her. They would have had to, because that's the law. That's sad. It's sad that they even put her in Rikers Island, you guys. I mean, we talked about Rikers Island, how horrible it is. This woman was jailed. You don't, and I'm gonna tell you guys this. And it's just so realistic to me that if this is the law says that I have the right to not answer any questions. I have the right to I don't have to tell you anything. If you arrest me and put me behind bars and then say, hey, I will release you if you tell us this, or I will release you if you tell us that. That's not the law here in the United States. The law is you are innocent until proven guilty, until they prove that you are guilty. And then, not only that, unless you have some kind of evidence I've done something, you've got to show the evidence. Just because my child is missing doesn't mean, and then I tell people this all the time, I know what it sounds like, just like on the Naziah Harris case. Like, it's hard when you don't have evidence. Like, no one's seen you do anything. Uh, nobody knows the last time that you've seen this person. This child been missing. They don't really know when. They know when the last time someone said that they seen the child. They don't know if, like, she could have gave the child to the father. She could have gave the child to somebody in a whole different state that's, don't even probably know the child's name, or she probably doesn't, like, like, know, like, she has to tell them where this child is at. A girlfriend of mine, she lost her job, and then she went into a little depression, which caused a lot more problems. And then next thing you know, she lost her apartment, and then she became homeless. So once she became homeless, she had her child with her. Her child was like 15, 16. She called one of her girlfriends up in a whole different state and was like, hey, could you take care of, Sally for me? The girl's name is not Sally. I'm using that as an example. I'm not going to say the child's name. And so they met, and the girl came down here, picked up the little girl, 15, 16 years of age, and took her back home with her for the summer. And so my girlfriend can get her life back. And I mean, she was homeless for a while. She was staying at the shelter. Sometimes, the shelter would kick her out because, they would get into it about, showers and what time you come in, and you over there drinking, doing a little smoking, whatever, whatever, whatever. But she did get her life back on track. Um, but the reason why I was telling you guys this, not to just be telling you somebody's business, but to tell you, like, she literally took her child to one of her friends' house. No, it wasn't her sister, it wasn't a kin person, but she took her child to a safe place until she got herself back together. And it took maybe 4 or 5 months, but she got herself back together. And then, once she got herself back together, she went and picked the child up. So people do things of that nature, like, they sometimes they have to displace children just so that they can get the things that they need, a roof over their head, a steady, shelter, someone that, uh, and I'm pretty sure, she didn't want to just leave her kid with somebody else, but she knew that her child would be safe. And her whole thinking is, I can't just have my child out here with me. Things happen, things can happen. So she put her child in a safer environment. And then when she got herself together, got a roof over her head, got her a job, we ended up making sure she got her a car, and then, she got her child back. She went, picked up her child. Her child's going to school, thriving. She's a kind of mother, Like there's a school, it's a certain school, and her daughter wants to go to that school. She wants to finish going to that school. And the weird thing about it is when I think about the situation, I was thinking, and I never did tell her this, but I was thinking because you don't want to tell people like, you know, it doesn't matter what school your child goes to. As long as you get her into school, and as long as and the mother would sometimes tell me, it's like, Sally wants to continue going to this school. Let's call the school uh Travis. So Sally wants to go to Travis High. She just loved going to Travis High. So she wants to continue going to Travis High. And I would sit there and I would think, girl, you don't even have a roof over your head. Don't worry about Travis High. Long as you get a roof over your head. So she would talk to me and would be like, um, I try to get a house or an apartment close to Travis High so my daughter can go to that school. And I would sit there and I wouldn't say it, but I would sit there and be thinking, like, you're trying to meet the demands of what your daughter wants, which is to continue to go to Travis High when you don't even have a roof over your head. You don't even know, you don't even have a job to get a roof over your head. And I mean, she was working on stuff, and until you're in that situation, it whatever people say to you, it's not going to sound like it makes any sense. And it didn't. It did not make sense to me. I'm thinking to myself, girl, you just should just wherever you can get a roof over your head. But I wouldn't say those things to her because then, first of all, I've never had been in that situation. But I wouldn't say it because when you haven't never been in that situation, like I've been very close to being evicted. Maybe not, because the people that I rented from, they probably would have never kicked me out. They just wouldn't have. I'm just telling you. Some people be like, you never know. Like, no, these people, they wasn't hard up for money. They want their money, but they they were more like, I felt like I just need to pay them the money, and I got behind. They didn't never say, hey, we're going to evict you. We're going to kick you out. They just say, well, when you get the money, just, give us the money, and I'm like, okay. And, I ended up getting the money, making the money, but, you know, I had to change my whole life around because had I been in anybody else's house, they would have kicked me out and I wouldn't have had no way of getting a U-Haul, no way of getting things put in storage. I just didn't have it, And, people think that just because it's a holiday, people don't have these problems. Normally, things happen around these holidays, you guys. So just because we're happy and we've got a roof over our head and we've got running water, we can take a shower when we want to, we can turn on the heat, the air, whatever, watch a little TV, walk outside, we take it for granted. It don't really have to be there. Something can happen, and it's just a matter of uh anything happening, like anything. Somebody can come by and next thing you know, like the electric can go out or, something fall from the sky or a plane or whatever, and you could be displaced in a matter of a minute, a sec. It just takes one thing to happen, and then, it could be somebody can mess with your name and steal your identity or something, and then there you is trying to go to work and can't because they think you this and all kind of stuff, you guys. I mean, it's called life, and things do happen, and then you've got people in this world that's doing, bad stuff, and not minding their own business, and they may cause havoc on your life, all kind of stuff. It's called life. So, um, I don't think it's a funny thing. I don't think it happens to just average people. Now, the funny thing, and I say funny, but the weird thing about this situation with my friend, it all started because she dyed somebody's hair. That's how she ended up losing her job. She dyed somebody's hair. The facility got angry. Not, instead of just giving her a write up or verbal or gave her a suspension or something of that nature, they ended up just firing her. You're fired. And I mean, people think fired, and I'm pretty sure she thought the same thing. Fired. And so, okay, well, I got fired. Okay. I'll go look for another job. Well, jobs don't come that easy. They was trying to get rid of her, sounds like. Well, you know, the person, okay, so when you work in a facility, there's certain things you just cannot do. And I don't know what made her think, the resident asked her, "Hey, I want my hair to look brown like yours," and da 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 da. So she had the dye, and and only thing you got to do is wash your hair. If she would have left it in there longer, it would have done well. But she didn't leave it in there long enough. So, they washed it out, and the lady's hair turned yellow like Big Bird. It was just yellow. It wasn't brown, it was yellow. And it wasn't even blonde. It was yellow. And the the resident started crying. Well, that's all it takes, you guys, because she wasn't able to give her permission. And she doesn't have a cosmetology license. She's not a cosmetologist. Um, she was a good worker. I know that. She's a good worker. But you can't tell her nothing. But anyway, she learned from it. She learned from it. She does take risks. She wants to be like everybody else. If they on their phone, she wants to be on her phone. If they leave, go get something to eat, she want to leave and go get something to eat too. She's just an average person, and she doesn't steal. She doesn't create havoc. But that day, that's what happened. Um, she's working now. She's got a really good job, pretty much doing the same thing she was before. And she's got a place. So she got a roof over her head. She got a car. She's doing good. And I don't talk to her, but every now and then we will text each other and say, "Hey, how's everything going?" She texted me last week. She was like, you know, hey. I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" She's like, um, you know, "I'm doing the do." I'm like, "Great." She's like, she having problems sleeping. I'm like, "Hey, you need to take care of yourself." But as far as she told me the car's still running, it's still getting her, where she got to go. There's no problems with the car. So I'm like, okay, that's great. Um, we made some vows for the new year, you know, uh, we're gonna stop doing this, we're gonna lose some weight, we're gonna exercise, we're gonna do this, do that. So I still keep in touch with her and our relationship is really great. I don't ask her questions about her life because I think she's doing well. And you guys, um, I'm not the judge of anybody's life. I just believe sometimes people, even though that they're grown, I think she's like 50. I think she just turned 50. And her daughter is 15. But anyway, I think, she's making better decisions. And I'm not saying every decision she make is great. I mean, she has a boyfriend and her daughter doesn't like him and he doesn't like her. But I mean, I don't know the dynamics. Like, is he soft spoken, nice person, and she just don't want nobody around? Or is he harsh and treating the mom bad, and that's why the daughter don't want him around? Because daughters can be very like, you know what, mom, you always get these cats and they use you, they and y'all fighting and you're arguing, and I don't like him. And the mom be like, hey, you stay in the child's place. This is grown folks' business. You know how it is. And normally, though, and I'm just saying, when a child doesn't like the person that, their mother or father is with, uh, you know, it's most of the time it doesn't work, because the child is going to be like, it's either me or them. And you don't want to be put in a situation where you have to pick and choose, like, you know, okay, did the person do something to you? Or why is it that we just can't get along? Why I can't be happy? Why, you're 15, you're on that age where, you're gonna start dating, you're gonna start meeting somebody yourself. You're gonna want to go out, hang out, go to these dances, these parties, find you a good job, work your job, make you a little money, figure out what you want to do, if you want to continue going to school or something. And here I am just working, and I think, we don't give credit to people when they have done well for who they are. You guys understand what I'm saying? Like, I look at my friend and I am so proud of her. Yes. You might think, like, what are you proud of? Because she came, I seen her at her bottom. Okay? The bottom, you guys. And I did not know how she was going to come out of that situation. It was like a no-win situation. She had lost her ID, she had lost her social security card, and she didn't have a car. And, and I would give her, I would say, hey, they're hiring over here. And she'd be like, well, I ain't got a vehicle. And then, and I say, well, they're giving away bicycles. And then she was, and she'd be like, yeah, but blah, blah, blah. People still have standards, regardless how low they are. They're like, no, I don't want to do this, and I don't want to do that. And you have to give them their space to not judge, but be there. So I feel like I'm just so happy that she allowed me to continue being her friend, and not, like, she never asked me for anything. She's never asked me for anything. So, sometimes I would pick her up or whatever, and we would go out to eat. And, and I will make sure she has this, and I will make sure she has that. Something to eat, a little money in her pocket, not nothing big, 10, 20, 30, $40 or something, you know. So I'm just letting you guys know, like, you know, because people, when they're in a bad situation, they want help, but you can't help them like, oh, I'm just going to give you $400-500. I can't. I don't have it like that. You guys understand what I'm saying? I just don't. I can give you 10, 20, $30 and it's not going to hurt me. And then maybe like if you need to make a phone call or get your phone cut on or, buy you something to eat or whatever, something of that nature. And then, you know, things of that nature. Like, I think that God does want us to help each other and he puts people in our lives. And he wonders, I think he knows what we're going to do, but we don't know what we're going to do. You know what I mean? So I do try to help people. And I mean, we're just chatting. It's Wacky Wednesday. Nothing's going on. I don't have to work today, and I'm so happy about it. My stomach done settled down, you guys. Thank God. Because I thought I would have to get back up again. But just life in general, like I don't know, but I like helping people. And I don't know if that's a, a disease or something, but I do like helping people. uh, but it's only so much I can do. But life does happen. Zena says life be lifing. Yeah. When life happens, let me see if there's a disease. Is it called or something or whatever? Let me see. What is it called when a person likes to help people? Is it a disease?
According to Healthline, a savior complex, or white knight syndrome, describes this need to save people by fixing their problems. It may have negative effects on your health and relationships. It's understandable to want to help a loved one in a bind.
So it's a savior complex or white knight syndrome. What was the disorder in which one wants to help another person? Okay. Okay. Super helper syndrome. The compulsive need to help others, even if doing so means you might not meet your own needs. They say, is there a psychological term for trying to control others? I don't think it's control. Pathological altruism. This is a clinical concept where altruism, this is the desire to help others, is taken to an unhealthy extreme. Okay. What do you call a person who addicted to help people? A person who persists in helping people even to their own determinant could be called codependent or possibly a covert narcissist. A person who is always ready to help others. Savior complex versus hero complex. So 10 signs it's time to stop helping people. Helping should lift others up, not drag you down. Learn 10 signs. Okay, let me look at this real quick. This is for myself. So let's see here. Oh. Helping others is intent. This thing always come up on here and I don't like it. Anyway, you guys, I guess I'm not going to look at it. It does what it wants to do. OCPD, compulsive personality disorder, obsessive compulsive person, OCPD. A narcissist, no, someone who thinks they're better than everyone else, but flies off the handle at the slightest criticism. Word for a person who wants to have problems to gain attention, huh? Anyway, boy, I still got that in my oh in my chest. Anyway, you guys. So yeah, I've learned that about myself. You know, in our field, I think it's a calling. But I do like helping people, but I don't want to help people. I don't know, like I don't want to help people that come to me and be like, "Well, you can just give me $20,000, or you can help me pay my electric bill, or something of that." No, like people that really need help. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to help people that only thing you got to do is figure it out. I like to help people that I know they have no way or they don't have anybody, and the help that they're needing is maybe just some guidance, or maybe someone to just give them some attention, or just just listen, you know, or they be like, if I can just get to this job, then I'll figure it out after that. You'd be like, okay, well, guess what? I'll pay for you a taxi or a share ride or whatever. Or I'll give you a ride over here. And like you do that little bit for them, something really small. They don't ask you for something big. They don't ask you for a house. They don't ask you for a car. They don't ask you for your bank account. And then you give them a ride, or you get them to where they got to go. You say, hey, I can't take you where you got to go, but why don't I cash app you $20? You catch a ride to where you got to go to that job interview, and then, like, let me know what happened when you get back or whatever. And they do what they say they're going to do. Now, you give them the cash app or whatever, and then they don't do what you say. They be like, they'll come back and say, oh, girl, thank you, thank you. Okay, that's not what you want to hear. You want to hear, girl, I made it to the job interview and I got the job. Okay, now I'm happy. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm happy. I'm satisfied. I don't want to hear, well, I got ready to go, and then, such and such wanted to go, so we didn't go. So I ended up, da 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 da. Then they're telling you this story that's not even nowhere near true. And they just didn't finish what they said they were going to do. All right. So it goes along with helping people wanting to not be in their business, but no. Hey, Miss Phyllis, how you doing? Make sure you guys speak to the people when they come in. So that is where it is. But I do like helping people, and sometimes now, and my husband's the same way. I was so scared. It was probably last weekend. I called my husband. He left the house, And so something was like, call him and see what is he doing. So I called my husband. I said, hey, honey, what are you doing? And he was like, oh, I stopped to get some breakfast. And I was like, okay, but you could have ate breakfast here, but he didn't want to eat breakfast here. She said, I help when God puts it on my heart to help. You know what, Zena? And that is the deal. I'm glad you said something. 99.9% of the time, it is on my heart. It's not like I'll be like, oh, I want to be a super helper. No. It'd be like, man, like I need to go. So, I would call my friend up and I said, hey, what you doing? And she's like, I ain't doing anything. I was like, girl, I was getting ready to go over here to the casino or whatever. And she was like, I'll go with you. And I'll be like, okay. And then I go pick her up. And then I say, I really don't want to play at the casino, but they got some good eating at the casino. Can we just go sit down and eat and talk or whatever? She said, yeah. So we go there. And I feel like, and then we're sitting there and we're talking. And I was like, girl, I just wanted to just, get you away from that environment for a minute so your head can be right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need your head to be right. Like let's order something to eat and let's talk about, you know, like you gotta have a plan. Like what are you gonna do and what do you need and which way are you trying to go? And we sit down and we talked. And I don't really believe that we got to a ending goal that day. And then when we got up, we ate. She had a huge big pork chop, which I've never seen a pork chop this big before. But it was very expensive pork chop on top of that. I can't remember what I got. I think I ended up with a steak or something, but nevertheless, we got up. We didn't play no slots or anything. I think we played $1 or two. We threw something in there for maybe a minute. And I just told her, come on, let's go. And she was like, okay. She was like, thank you for just getting me out of that place. And, so she can get her mind right. Because if your mind is always on what you're looking at, the situation, these people are telling you when to come in, when to take a shower, what to eat, when to eat. And then then they tell you to get out. And then you ain't got no money. And you're like, okay, I'm out, but now what? So I didn't want her to feel like, okay, you're there, you got all this time, let's go sit down and let's just talk, and anything you want to talk about, we could talk about it. When you are kind-hearted, some people would try to take advantage of you or start dry begging. Yeah, but you know what? She never did do that. She never did do that. When there was opportunity, she jumped on it. She was like, hey, I'm interested in that or da 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 da. I tried to offer her some work and I was told not to. So then I didn't want to, you know, disrespect her by saying, and I did offer it. And she was like, yeah, I'll help you. But then, I kind of was like, oh, no, I never, don't, yeah, no. You know what I mean? So, and, sometimes when you help people, the help don't stop. They come back again and again and again. And that never did happen. She's very, she's very, very, she just wanted to do it on her own, you know? She did need a little help, you know. Little. When I say little help. Very appreciative. Anything, it was. I'm very proud of her. I'm proud of her. You know, because you couldn't have told me. Like she told me that this one woman was helping her get her apartment. Making sure she fill out the paperwork right and she can put her on this list and all this other stuff. And I'm gonna tell you something. I didn't believe it. I did not believe it at all. I was like, girl, do you know people wait for the low income housing like 2, 3 years? Now how you gonna get on the list and then within months you get you a place? I couldn't see it. But guess what? Evidently the woman told her right because she got her a place. She do. She got her a place. Now, she told me that, there's bugs in there and she's been spraying and cleaning and, and all of that. But she got her a place, you know? So that's all I can say is, beggars can't be choosy. Like I told her, she'd be like, she's spraying and keeping her house clean and everything. You know, I'm proud of her. She came from losing everything all within a month. She lost everything. Had to send her daughter away. She lost her car. She lost her house. She lost everything. And then people stole all her stuff to regaining her life back. You know? It was crazy. It was crazy. And I'm proud of her. You know? Yeah, I'm proud of her. Anyway, we're just chatting today, you guys. I think we should have. See, I don't want to have it on a Tuesday. I think we should have our Christmas on the 25th. I mean, not, no. I said the 25th. Girl, let me not do the 25th. We'll do it on the 26th. That way we can all chit chat and talk about it. We can all chit. That way by Monday on the 29th, I can probably have, like, since it's going to be Cash App, I can do Cash App all Friday and Saturday and Sunday and be done by Monday. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We'll do it. I don't really want to do it on the 23rd because the 23rd, I got to get ready for Christmas. And that's the only day I have off before, you know, like, our Christmas. So I do want to see Pooh Bear. And, you never know. Never know. Anyway, you guys, when you are kind hearted, some people will try to take advantage of you. Yeah, they will. They will. But this was not her. She wasn't trying to take advantage of me. Trust me, not at all. She kept herself in a friend space. You know what I mean? You know, she kept herself in a friend space, and I just, wow, I'm just so proud of her. Cause to be honest with you, I don't think I can lose everything and bounce back up like that. This girl bounced back up. Anyway, you guys, I'm gonna get off of here. We was just chatting. We was chatting about people, life. This young lady getting out of jail, which she's supposed to have got out of jail. I told you guys that. I told you, even though we don't know where the child is at, it's like, and we pretty much believe something bad probably has happened to Jacob. That does not give the county, the city, the state, the government to lock somebody up in jail, because they won't tell or talk or whatever. You got to have something more than just Where's your child at? Oh, you not telling us where your child is? Okay, we're gonna lock you up. You be like, what the heck? Because I don't tell you where my child is, you're gonna lock me up, you know? Phyllis says, I try helping people, and even if they are taking advantage of me, I just do my part. Sometimes you can't help. Use wisdom. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but it is always good. I think I feel good when I can help someone. I don't I don't never ask for anything back because, like, why would you want something back if you give it to them? Then why would you want it back? Like, no. Anyway, you guys, that is what is on my mind today. Is you have to have that discernment. Everybody say they got the discernment. I think there's 8 people in the house right now. I guarantee you, every one of you guys believe you have discernment. And I'm not saying you don't. But when you have a discernment, you know, you should be able to know things before helping people, you know? Perceive judgment and understanding things clearly, especially what's not obvious, involving keen insight, wisdom, and the ability to distinguish between right and wrong, truth, deception, or good and bad. That's what your discernment is. So sometimes it's just not going to turn out the way you want it to turn out. That doesn't mean you don't have the discernment. Maybe, like, have you ever done something before knowing how it's going to turn out and it does not turn out the right way or the way you want it to turn out, but you already knew it wasn't going to turn out that way, but you still did it anyway, knowing, it's kind of like, that's a discernment. Like, you give a kid $10. You say to yourself, I know if I give you this $10, you're going to spend it on candy. You're not going to go and buy you a pair of socks, which you know you need. So you give the kid the $10, and the first thing they do, they get with their friends or whatever. They be like, no, I need a pair of socks. I'm going to go get them socks or whatever. And you're like, yeah, right. It's a kid. And then they come in later on and they ain't got no socks. And you're like, well, where's the money? And they was like, well, I spent it. Well, we went to the candy shop. We got some Laffy Taffy. We got this, that, and the other. You don't, it would not be a bad thing because your discernment worked. It's just you knew. Even once you gave it to them, you knew it was not going to turn out the way you wanted it to turn out. Them to go buy the pair of socks. Now, you ain't got to go buy the pair of socks. You knew they were going to take the money and go buy candy. So, you got to learn how to use when you have a discernment. And I believe everybody has some type of discernment, especially when it comes to their situation. You may not use it or activate it like you're supposed to, but I believe that you have an intuition of, people around you, how they're going to portray what you're doing, when you're going to pay your bills, are you going to cook, or you're going to get in the car and go over here. Zena says, I have a discernment. I know Phyllis saying, I got a discernment. See what I'm saying? So, you know, just realize even though that you have a discernment, you still sometimes know that whatever you decide to do, it may not feel good doing it. You'd be like, okay, I give this person $5 and they still don't go buy their pair of socks, then that's bad because I knew better. No, you still feel compelled to give them the $5 and hope that they do the right thing, knowing that they're not, because your discernment told you that they're not. Doesn't mean that it went the wrong way. It still went the right way. There's nothing, there's no surprises when it comes to the Lord. They did what they were going to do. That's just the way it is. Anyway, you guys, we were talking about the young lady getting out of jail because she did not tell where this child Jacob is at. And even though that we're warriors for children, we're for the children, we're also for the law. Exactly, Phyllis. Phyllis got the word. She said the Holy Spirit will not lead you wrong. No. That's why I said sometimes you can give that person the $5 or $10 and they still don't go get the pair of socks. And you could even know that they're not going to go get the pair of socks. That doesn't mean you did wrong or you don't have discernment. It's just, you know. So when you have a discernment, it also almost like the law. Like when I say the law, I'm meaning like to have discernment is so to help you. The discernment is to help you, not so that you just know right from wrong and truth and fake and this, that, and the other. It's so that when these things do happen, you won't get all bent out of shape because the person didn't do the right thing. Or you sit there and go, well, I knew they wasn't going to take the money and go da 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 da. Exactly. It's still their choice what they do. You know? That's why I tell you guys, law is so important. And I learned that a long time ago, that we're still under the law. So even though that something may not be right, like one time when my son was in school, they were cheating, they were lying on him and everything, and then we had to go to court to keep him in the school. And he was like, Mom, they're lying on me and all this other stuff. And I said, son, okay, they could be lying on you, but you're giving them something to lie on too. So, I mean, if you would do the right things, you wouldn't even be in the presence. You wouldn't even be in that environment. But, you go to school when you want to, and then you walk out when you want to, and you're talking crazy to them when you want to. So, yeah, they could say these things about you, and it may look like, what they're saying is true, what you're saying is not, but you gave them all this ammunition, okay? So now we're here. And he's like, but, and I said, but here's the thing. There's a thing called the law. You're under the law and they're under the law. So if it's not true, they can't just kick you out of school. They have to do things the right way. And they have to prove it. Now, I'm going to tell you guys something. This is a true story, and then we're going to leave it at that. We went into the courts and we sit down and, we acknowledge each other. We introduce, I'm the mother. This is my son. Da, 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 da. This is the principal. I subpoenaed the whole school, all the teachers, the secretary, the nurse, all the teachers. And the judge was like, I've never had so many people in my courtroom. And so the principal was like, she subpoenaed my whole staff. And I did. And I did. The only one didn't come is because there was a teacher that didn't come because his mother had passed away 2 days prior to that. So that's the only person. But there was like about 11, 12 people in that courtroom. And so the judge asked a question, and this is to was so that my son they were trying to take him out of the school for life. Like he would never go to 259, school district 259, which is public school in Wichita. And so the principal asked the question after everybody introduced themselves, and I said, well, we went to the meeting. Okay, there was a situation where my son walked out and all this other stuff. We went to the meeting. It got intense. Well, he's on a 504. Anybody know what a 504 is? Then, put it in the chat. If you know what a 504 is, they have rights on a 504, okay? That means there is some type of disability for that child. It could be a learning disability. It could be a diagnosis. It could be a physical disability. But whatever it is, they have to adhere to what that child's needs are on the 504. You guys understand that? 504 is all across the United States. So I'm not talking about something that's just in Kansas. I'm talking about in where I don't care if you in the Chicago area. You should know what a 504 is. Anyway, nevertheless, the judge looked and was like, so you guys was at this meeting and your son got upset and he walked out. And I said, my son got upset because the principal started yelling at me and my son wasn't having it. And instead of him getting outraged, he walked out and I had to go to make sure my son was okay. They closed the meeting and was like, he's done. And now we're here. And the judge was like, okay, so this meeting is over with. And he was like, son, go to school and make sure you finish school. Everybody looked at the judge and they was like, what do you mean? What happened? And the judge said, he's under the law. You guys cannot just take him out of the school forever because he's on a 504. What does that mean? You're going to have to do more than what you just did. He's going to have to do more than just walk out of a meeting. Did you guys send the mother a letter? Did you guys try to have another meeting? Have a person in there trying to construct? Maybe y'all could have did it through Zoom. Like, the child needs to be there so he understands. But if he already has something saying that he has the anger and you guys angered him and he went and did what normally is on his 504 is get out the presence of that environment. Now you guys are saying, no, we want him expunged from the school forever. You can't do that. So he's going back to school. You guys, next time when you have a child that the doctor has diagnosed, and you guys done set up ways to, you can't, you guys get paid money. The mother owns her property, so she paying taxes, but you want to kick him out. You can't do that. There's a law that says every child has a right to an education. And when you get that grant money for the lunches and you get the grant money to pay the teachers, you're saying that any child that comes into this school will be able to be taught by your staff. But this child here, when he acted out or got angry and you guys set it up in his 504 that he can go take a walk, now you're saying, no, we don't want him to walk now. He needs to sit and he needs to do this and he needs to do that. Well, you need to set up those provisions. Okay? Everybody at that meeting was like, I can't believe this just happened. My son just looked and was like, what? And I was like, what? We was like, yeah, this called the law. Okay? You don't ever want, no matter how bad it looks, you go by the law. There's law in everything. And if you don't have law, you're going to have havoc. So you want the law to stand, whether you like it or not. And if the law says that, and this is why we're talking about this, is because Jacqueline would not say where her child was at, doesn't mean she goes straight to jail. She has a right, the Fifth Amendment, to not incriminate herself. That's the law. You don't have to like it, but you want it to be there. Because what if they come in your home right now and ask, where is a child? Or where's your father? Or where's your such and such? And you don't want to tell them because it's none of their business. Or you don't know. Or this woman saying she's Jesus Christ. Now we know she's got a mental problem. They said that. They know she's mentally disturbed. She said the toys are hers. She's never had a child. She's never had a period. She's Jesus Christ. Now they need to get her some help. And maybe then they'll find out where the child is. But locking her up until she tells us where the child is? No. I'm not for that, you guys. I'm not for that. I want everyone to have a right. They did come and say she do have a child. They came up with the doctor's records that says that she does have a child, and it does look very plain and simple that there's toys and this 11-year-old boy is in a stroller. I don't know why he's in a stroller or whatever, and we don't know where he is. This is going to be something just to pay attention to and learn. Anyway, you guys, I'm going to get off of here. We were all over the place today, but like I said, think about what I said. There's a couple of things: discernment, law, those two things, and giving. Being a person that likes to help people. We talked about these three things. I don't know how they all come together, but that's what the Lord gave me today to talk about. So that's what we did. Anyway, you guys be good, be safe, and be nice to each other. Bye.